go further into this. So
Maybe before you bounce on that real quick, Ken, there's the
yeah.
default mode network thing and the whole idea when that turns down, maybe sound and sight and music just affects you in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
not processing it in the same way. You're not saying, I like this because, or
Yeah.
this sounds like this. It's just, you're just totally here. It becomes more, it goes more through you.
It's kind of like the LSD thing we were talking about when we did the other episode, where like all music sounds kind of good and
Mm-hmm.
sounds kind of different because
Mm-hmm.
it's just going through the apparatus in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, you're
cool.
more easily in a flow state at that point, so
Yeah.
there's less resistance to stuff. So speaking about intention, just to give people a little bit of understanding where I was at this point now, the intentions that I was working with when I was down here, the first was to, kind of open my heart, whatever that meant. I just thought that would be an important thing to do. I wanted to become a better practitioner through self-healing.
Mm.
And so I drank the medicine, and it's about an hour into it, and they start singing. And I love, I play music. Eric, you play music, and even if you don't play music, hopefully you enjoy music. So we all have a kind of similarity in feeling it. And I'm really liking what I'm hearing. Like it just sounds so different and so good. I was like totally into it. I was like, oh, this is great. This is like a sweet concert, And so in my journey now, I'm definitely more in it. I'm kind of nauseous at times, kind of not. My body temperature, as I mentioned before, I had a fever and chills kind of all day long, but now that's kind of subsided, and I'm more or less like a little warm, little cool, little warm. This kind of like I'm taking my jacket on and off and putting it on and off, blanket on and off, socks on and off. If I could have took my pants on and off, I would have, but it wasn't really appropriate. But I started to kind of get into the visions a little bit more, and they are, because I didn't take that much the first day, the visions were more like daydreams, I could say. So I have a question, and my question was, how can I open my heart more? And at that moment, then Christ was shown to me. And I was forced to kind of look at myself and how I've built this persona around my decisions. And some of the stuff that came up that I was viewing from a topical point of view was moving from Chicago to California, going into the military, right, being in Iraq, and these decisions, and I will say the fragrances from these decisions. So the kind of lingering energetic frequencies that lingered from making these decisions are rooted, actually, a lot of it in shame for myself. And some of that shame was over the choices that I left on the table, over the things that I didn't choose, and what would have happened if I chose differently. Not necessarily over the things that I did, but the things that I didn't do. And that was that's difficult pill to swallow. And so I was forced to kind of like look at these things from a new kind of perspective, because they're sort of lingering underneath your normal conscious state of thinking, but they're there nonetheless, affecting the way that you live all the time. And so here I am now looking at them. And I mean, I know that like you can't know the story before it's written, but I could certainly look at the process of the writing of my own story as it's happening. And I kind of had to view my own sort of masculinity at this point as something that was not just the only choice for me to always make. There are other options, like it's a flame, and you can use fire for cooking, but you could also burn stuff with fire, right? And so in this moment, I was kind of like in the middle of it, and it said, I heard that the shadow of shame has been removed from your heart and your mind. It is now time that you forgive yourself. And once I asked about forgiveness, I felt like a really strong sense of relief. And I kind of got teary-eyed, but then I started sweating, and I kind of was laughing a little bit, like I was purging in a different way, not just through vomiting or through diarrhea, but through different emotions and stuff like that. And I had just this extreme sense of gratitude for the work of the shamans in this state, because I knew I wasn't going to let myself on this day throw up, because I threw up earlier. And the head shaman actually, he purged, he threw up when he was singing to me. And I could be wrong about this, but I felt like he did that for me because he knew that I wouldn't, and he's been doing this for 20 years. He doesn't throw up. You know what I mean? He does this every day, like 4 or 5 days a week. Sometimes they just drink for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And so I had such gratitude, such gratitude. And, you know, for them to be in this place and bring people in, and I realize they make money as their job, but it's not an easy job.
No, it's not like a job, like no, that's not a job.
No,
It's
it's
a calling.
not.
It's,
No, it's
you have to support yourself, but it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was just such a deep gratitude for them and their work. And I asked myself, I said, how is it possible to have so much love and compassion for humanity when I don't have as much of that for myself?